The ancient scriptures were written in a language unlike any other. Discover what remarkable language is filled with rich meaning, ornate symbolism, and vivid pictures of God and His creation. Today on Jewish Voice.
Shalom and welcome to Jewish Voice. I'm Jonathan Bernis, and I am so glad that you decided to join us today. There is a wonderful renewal that's happening in the church right now. It's a rediscovery of the Jewish roots of our faith, and that's one of our themes here at Jewish Voice, to help you discover the Jewish roots of your faith and what that means. Well, one aspect of this is the rebirth of the Hebrew language. I'm talking about digging into the original ancient Hebrew of the Scriptures, and this opens up some amazing revelation for us. Do you like a great mystery? I do, and the Bible is full of them. But as fascinating as mysteries may be, it's even more gratifying to unlock these mysteries through divine revelation from above. My guest today is certainly no stranger to our program, and he's here today to help us to unlock some of the hidden and beautiful secrets of the Hebrew Scriptures. He was director of Hebrew programs at Arizona State University and is a scholar who's helped to create many wonderful aids to learning Hebrew that have been used around the world. Please join me in welcoming back my good friend, Dr. Danny Ben-Gigi. Danny, welcome back to Jewish Voice.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Welcome.
Shalom.
Come on, have a seat.
Toda.
So I haven't seen you in a while.
That's right.
It's good to have you back in the studio. I don't think we've done a program together in at least a year.
At least a year, right.
At least a year. Well, welcome back to Jewish Voice. I want to dig right into this wonderful subject of the Hebrew language. And I introduced the program today as a mystery, that Hebrew unlocks mysteries of the Scriptures. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. It's mystery, but it's not in the sense of esoteric mystery. It's mystery that needs to be deciphered on the cerebral level, on the brain level. Nothing in the area of strange usage of numerology or numbers or all that. No.
We're not talking about Bible codes. We're not talking about things between the text. We're actually talking about bringing out the ancient text.
Pure Hebrew words, by looking at them and managing to dive into the depths, to the core, to the nucleus of the sense of God's intention for mankind. And this is what I'm going to show you here today.
So, but I want you to elaborate more on how Hebrew actually unlocks mysteries from the Scriptures.
Well, the nature of the language of Hebrew, in contrast to any language on the face of the earth, is that it's done by the divine, by God Himself. When He wrote His book, He wrote it in Hebrew. Or first of all, wrote it, and then Moses wrote it, dictated. But the whole Bible is written in Hebrew, and it possesses powers that does not exist in any language, with all due respect to other languages, that does not exist in any language on the face of the earth. The mysteries there are because of its closeness and the intimacy of the tongue itself to the maker of the tongue, God Himself.
Some believe that the New Testament was written in Hebrew originally. We have no definitive proof of that. I just want to point that out.
Right. We don't have a proof of that, though if you look at the writings in the New Testament itself, of course, it came from the Greek. This is the only scrolls that were found. But if you look at the Greek, at the quality of the Greek and the level of the Greek, you can see through, any academic can tell you that the writing themselves indicates that it's coming from the Hebrew. There are expressions there that have no meaning in English, and they have no meaning even in the Greek itself.
No question, a Hebrew worldview. And that's why Hebrew is so important, because we're going back to the source. To the source. Danny, we have to take a break. When I come back, I want to talk about the power of the Hebrew language and a material. You've done a lot of materials, but one book you've done in particular, talking about Hebrew word pictures that are actually painted through the original Hebrew language. There's much more with Dr. Danny Ben-Gigi when we return. Stay with us.
The ancient scriptures were written in what some refer to as God's own language. Hebrew is a remarkable language filled with rich meaning and ornate symbolism. No other language better reveals God's plans, purposes, and promises, but its beautiful complexity can make it too difficult for many to understand. Is it possible to uncover its secrets for yourself? Now, with Hebrew word pictures, the answer is yes. This easy-to-use resource will help you unlock the mysteries and better understand this divine language. Every Hebrew letter is a sound and a picture. When used together, the words formed from these ancient Hebrew letters reveal a vivid image. And these word pictures all combine to reveal meaning in stunning detail. The Hebrew Word Pictures book is a wonderful tool that will help you better understand the scriptures without hours of focused study. For your gift of $50 or more, we want to send you a copy of this powerful resource as our way of saying thank you. Your generosity will ensure that urgently needed medical care will reach hurting Jewish people in some of the most remote places on earth. And more important, they will hear the truth of their Messiah. We also want you to have this helpful bookmark and beautiful Jerusalem keychain. It will serve as your reminder to follow God's command in Psalm 122, verse 6, to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Call or click right now with your gift of $50 or more to receive your own copy of Hebrew Word Pictures, along with the bookmark and Jerusalem keychain. Your gift will ensure that urgently needed medical care and the truth of Yeshua will bring these Jewish people help, health, and hope.
Welcome back to Jewish Voice. I'm Jonathan Bernis, and with me today is a Hebrew language expert, Dr. Danny Ben-Gigi. And Danny, we were talking before the break about Hebrew unlocking mysteries from the Hebrew scriptures, because this is the original language. And Hebrew has been referred to as by many as Lashon HaKodesh, the holy tongue, because it's a unique language. There's no other language like it. And many of us, I know you're one of them, believe that this is a God-breathed language. Give us some examples of why you believe Hebrew is a God-breathed language.
Well, I can start with an ancient tradition of the sages from the old time. They believed that the world was created by the usage of the 22 Hebrew characters to create the whole world. God has used, according to this ancient tradition called Masoret in Hebrew, to create the entire world. And you'll think, well, that's kind of a bizarre idea. How can you take characters and build the world? Well, just look at the computer world. Everything that computers can do, from imaging, for space flight and rocket and missiles and so on, is done by two characters, the 0 and the 1. Look how far have we gone by using only two characters, 1 and 0. Guess how far the world can get when God is using 22 characters.
That's a great point. You're talking about Hebrew as a creative language.
Take a very basic word that I'm sure many people, even if they don't know Hebrew, they already know that word. And that word is the word father, Av or Abba. You can see that everywhere, and I know people hear it. I hear it on television a lot. People use that. Av is made just like you hear it with with two characters, A and the Va. And A is the Aleph, and the sound of Av or Abba is the Bet. Two letters in Hebrew, two characters. Now let's look at them as pictures. The Aleph, the picture of Aleph, originally looked like a head of an ox. And it has a symbol, and that's the idea of the Hebrew word pictures. Every character has a picture, and the picture has a meaning. And once you know the meaning, you can find out and decipher many words by those meanings. Here is the example. So the Aleph looks like an ox, and it always meant strong or leading, because the ox, the bull, was the big animal of the household of the ancient time, and therefore it symbolizes strong, leading, or first. Forever, Aleph in Hebrew word pictures is, again, strong, leading, or first. But the example we're giving here is the word Av, father, and it's spelled with an Aleph, strong, leading, and the second letter, which is the Bet. And look at the picture. The letter Bet makes the picture of a house or a tent. and it means a house or a tent. So now you put the two letters together, the Aleph and the Bet. Aleph is strong and leading. The second word, the Bet, is the house. What is the father then? The leader of the house. You ask me about God? Take the same character, the first one, Aleph. What is Aleph? Strong or leading or first. And the L is spent with Aleph and Lamed, which is the L in English, the letter L in English, right? Two characters. So simple, but look at the picture. We already know that Aleph means strong or leading or first. The letter Lamed, look at the shape of the Lamed. It's the shepherd staff, and it symbolizes shepherd. So now what is father? Just by the picture, without learning anything, the strong, the first, the leading shepherd. That's what God is, and it shows right in the picture. I knew that it exists, but I could never use that. And with the gentleman, Frank Sickens, introduces it to me with a lot of mistrust and some arrogance on my part, because I'm Israeli, I'm a teacher, and here is a simple order. He's come to teach me Hebrew.
Hebrew professor.
Yeah, I felt a little bit, I must admit, a little conceited, but I didn't show it. My mouth said, oh, very interesting. But my heart says, who are you to teach me that stuff? And he said to me, he's very gentle, so let's sit down, show me a word that you know that I don't know. So, oh, he is challenging me. Show me a word. Okay. So just on the side, as I'm eating my soup, I wrote down the word hatred. Just hatred, I put it down. And I could never forget the soup. It almost got stuck in my throat. When he said, it has to do with a strong hatred. So what did you say? How did you know that? Show me how you knew the word. I said, I did not know the word. Let me give you another one. I put another one there. He knew it right away. And I said, what's the secret? How do you know it? And he showed, look at the picture. You know what? Let me give you the word hatred came from the word that everybody knows, Satan, Satan, or Sana. And he could decipher just by the picture. Say, how? Say, how? Look at the letters. And I'm looking, and suddenly everything became clear just by the picture. Satan, Satan. I'm using kind of a harsh example, but look at that. Made of 3 letters, Shin, Tet, and Nun. Okay, the Shin, look at the image of the Shin. It looks exactly like teeth. The shape of the letter Shin is teeth. And forever in Hebrew word picture, when you see that letter, many times, it demonstrates devouring or destroying, because this is teeth. Again, we're going to the animal, to the primal level. That picture of a teeth means destroying or devouring. Okay, look at the second letter, the circle, the tet of the word Satan, S-T-N, like in English. The tet means a snake or a serpent. Again, very negative creature, right from Genesis there about the serpent, right? And the last one is the Nun. Even the word Nun is an ancient symbol in Christianity. That's the fish that symbolizes then life. So Nun, the letter Nun, Satan, S-T-N. You have the sin, the teeth, the snake, the serpent, and Nun, life. Now go ahead and decipher the picture. The serpent that destroys life.
That's
fascinating. Satan. In Genesis, God says, He's using his name for creation. Look at in very first Genesis 1. He says, in English, he says, let there be light. Wrong translation. There is no let there be light. Let means let another power interfere here and create the light. Oh, wait. Okay, work. Bingo. No. He does say in Hebrew, be light, not let there be light. He's using the word yehi or. Now look at the letters he's using to say be. Yud, hey, Yud. 3/4 of his name. It's Yah. Look at these letters. This is Yah. He's using his name. And you can say, well, it's a coincidence. Yes, maybe. But look, this is what the word for...
What I get out of that, he is the one who is.
He is the one who is, and he creates with his name, and Hebrew shows it. Jonathan, look, there are 3 manifestations if you say it quickly. There is past, future, and present, right? In Hebrew, there's also the imperative. But take the past, future, and present. The past is Haya, was. What is the letters that made the past, the entire thing? Hey, Yud, hey, God's name. Coincidence again, Danny. Okay, so what about the word future? Yi, he, ye. Yud, hey, Yud, hey. Once again, God's name twice. That's the future. And if you really think it's still coincidence, bless your innocence, But tell me, what's the present? What's the present in Hebrew? Ho-ve. Hey, vav, hey.
Wow.
3/4 of God's name is the present. Is it a coincidence? Hardly.
I hope you're getting this. The past, the present, the future, all made up of the Hebrew letters that spell the name of God. Yud, He, Vav, He, known as the Tetragrammaton.
This is one of the most fascinating words that everybody can relate immediately. The word nasa, made of the letters Nun, Shin, and Aleph. Sa means to lift up, Nun is life, okay? So the meaning of the word nasa in Hebrew is lift up, but it also means to marry a woman. Marriage and lifting up is exactly the same word. And now you can know where is the custom coming from, where the bridegroom is lifting up the groom, is lifting up the bride at the ceremony of marriage, of the matrimony, right? He is carrying, because the word carry and marry is the same thing. And that's what lift up means.
Unlocking mysteries with the Hebrew language. Hebrew word pictures. It's a fascinating book. How does the Hebrew alphabet reveal prophetic truths? And there's a CD as well.
Oh, the CD. So people, in order to make it even easier for people to use, inside the book itself, there is a CD, an audio CD. So every word that is written in the book, people can hear it also narrated, so they can hear the word.
The power of the spoken Hebrew word. Danny, thank you so much for being back with us. We have much more for you ahead, so be sure to stay with us.
The ancient scriptures were written in what some refer to as God's own language. Hebrew is a remarkable language filled with rich meaning and ornate symbolism. No other language better reveals God's plans, purposes, and promises. But its beautiful complexity can make it too difficult for many to understand. Is it possible to uncover its secrets for yourself? Now, with Hebrew word pictures, the answer is yes. This easy-to-use resource will help you unlock the mysteries and better understand this divine language. Every Hebrew letter is a sound and a picture. When used together, the words formed from these ancient Hebrew letters reveal a vivid image. And these word pictures all combine to reveal meaning in stunning detail. The Hebrew Word Pictures book is a wonderful tool that will help you better understand the scriptures without hours of focused study. For your gift of $50 or more, we want to send you a copy of this powerful resource as our way of saying thank you. Your generosity will ensure that urgently needed medical care will reach hurting Jewish people in some of the most remote places on earth. And more important, they will hear the truth of their Messiah. We also want you to have this helpful bookmark and beautiful Jerusalem keychain. It will serve as your reminder to follow God's command in Psalm 122, verse 6, to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Call or click right now with your gift of $50 or more to receive your own copy of Hebrew Word Pictures, along with the bookmark and Jerusalem keychain. Your gift will ensure that urgently needed medical care and the truth of Yeshua will bring these Jewish people help, health, and hope.
Today, our program is focused on the Hebrew language. I like to talk a lot about the Hebrew language on this program because Jewish Voice is committed to the rediscovery or reconnecting followers of Jesus with the Jewish roots, the Hebraic roots of our faith. And one way we do that is by going back to the original Hebrew language. The Old Testament is not written in English or Greek, it's written in Hebrew. The various names of God, which convey his identity, his very nature, all of his attributes are revealed to us in the Hebrew language. The promises of God, such as healing, deliverance, divine provision, supernatural peace, salvation, and so on, are all promised to us in the original language of Hebrew. One of the names of God, for example, Jehovah or Adonai Shalom, is translated as the Lord our peace. But when we dig back into the original Hebrew language, we discover that shalom means more than just peace. It means completion. It means fullness. It means well-being. And so when we look deeply at that attribute of God in the Hebrew language, we discover not only is God our peace, but God is our provision. God is our fullness. God is our completion. In Him, we become complete. When we drill down into the Hebrew language, it just suddenly expands for us, and there's so much more meaning, so much more revelation. So I like to talk about Hebrew, and I love having guests that can expound on the Hebrew language of the Scriptures, the Old Testament, the prophets, the Torah, the writings, that are all foundational for us that believe in the New Covenant. So it stands to reason that if we're going to experience the greatest impact, the greatest depth, and the fullest meaning from the Word of God, mining the Word of God, we're going to go back to the Hebrew roots, the original Hebrew language. So when we dig into the various Hebrew names of God, we gain insight, we gain revelation, we gain divine understanding about who God is, about what He's provided for us and the benefits available to us, and so on. Not only is there great depth and revelation going back to the Hebrew language, the Hebrew language is a fulfillment of Bible prophecy. And I want you to see this. If you look with me at Zephaniah chapter 3, there's a really interesting verse in that little book of Zephaniah chapter 3, and I want you to look at verse 9 with me on the screen now. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 9 says this, and reading out from the New King James, and a number of translations bring out the same point. It says, "For then I will restore to the peoples a pure language, that they may call on the name of the Lord to serve Him with one accord." This is an amazing prophecy about the restoration of the Hebrew language. You know, the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob have been a wandering people. The Jewish people have gone from nation to nation. We were scattered after the Romans destroyed Jerusalem and the temple in 70 AD. And since that great dispersion, we've been wandering from nation to nation, assimilating very often into the language, into the culture of the various host nations. But when God began to call the Jewish people, the children of Israel, back to their ancient homeland, the land of Israel, and this was in the 19th century, the 1860s, the 1870s, He began to restore them not only to their land, but to their language. A man named Eliezer Ben-Yehuda, who was called by God to make Aliyah, to go to Israel in the 1870s, worked on the restoration of the modern language of Hebrew, and he is the father of the revival of the modern language of Hebrew. And so that the children of Israel don't speak the various languages of the world today in Israel. They speak Hebrew. They read ancient Hebrew, which is the language of the Scriptures. It's the language of the prophets. It's a holy language. It's a pure language. And this is a divine restoration. I will purify, the Bible says, the speech of the people, the lips of the people. I will give them again a pure language. It is the language of Hebrew. And we have the opportunity as those that are grafted in. You have the opportunity as one that is grafted in to the Jewish people, who's now become a spiritual son or daughter of Abraham, to learn the original Hebrew language. And we have many tools available to do that, like Hebrew word pictures, as we're offering on the program today. The Hebrew giving us pictures from this holy, this pure language that has been restored today as a fulfillment of Bible prophecy, and something you can attach yourself to, the power of the original Hebrew language, the language of the prophets, the language of the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, what we call the Old Testament.
Come to where heaven and earth meet. Join Jonathan Bernis in the Holy Land, November 30th through December 11th for the Jewish Voice 2012 Israel Tour. Experience a land of rich history, walk where Yeshua walked, and explore the very backdrop of the Holy Bible. You'll visit Tel Aviv, Jaffa, Caesarea, Nazareth, the Sea of Galilee, the Mount of Beatitudes, and more. Call or click now for more information.
I hope that you'll join me this year in Jerusalem. See you there. All of us at Jewish Voice are passionately focused on proclaiming Yeshua, Jesus as the Messiah, to the Jew first and to the nations. I'll tell you, the need is so great out there. The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. And we at Jewish Voice are determined to carry out our mandate and mission to go anywhere in the world where God's chosen people, the Jewish people, need our help. Recently, our medical outreach team visited Addis Ababa in Waliso, Ethiopia, and the results were absolutely phenomenal. More than 16,000 people received medical care, dental care, and eye care, all free of charge. And more importantly, over 5,100 people, Jew and Ethiopian alike, made Yeshua their Messiah. Incredible results. And I'm telling you, the 2012 is proving to be a year of great opportunity. In fact, in May, we're going to be conducting our very first medical outreach to the impoverished Lemba Jewish community in Zimbabwe. This tribe of more than 20,000 Jewish people live in abject poverty. Most have never even seen a doctor or dentist in their entire lives. It's friends like you who make it possible for us to help needy Jewish communities like the Lemba. And so I want to personally thank you for your continued prayer and financial support. Now, as you help us to do this wonderful and important work, I want to thank you in a very special way. First, I want to send you this marvelous book, Hebrew Word Pictures. With it, you'll be able to unlock some of the mysteries that are hidden in the original Hebrew language and better understand this divine tongue. This is the holy language from God. And this is a wonderful tool that's going to help you to better understand the Bible. It comes with a number of special study helps and features that are going to make your exploration of Hebrew much more meaningful. Your gift will help us to reach out to Jewish people in need with life-changing medical care, dental care, eye care, all free of charge, and more importantly, the gospel, the good news of their Messiah. Just know that we love you and thank God for your faithfulness. Now, before I go, I want to take a moment to invite you to join us on Facebook. You'll find us at facebook.com/Jewish Voice. This is a great way to get real-time updates on everything that's happening here at Jewish Voice, and you'll have the opportunity to see what our many friends are talking about. We'd love to have you visit, so stop by and like us soon. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Be sure to join us again next week, and until then, I want to personally remind you the Scriptures exhort us to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. The Bible promises they shall prosper that love thee. For all of us here at Jewish Voice, this is Jonathan Bernis saying shalom, and God bless you.
Jewish Voice is made possible by the support of friends and partners like you.